Bum 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 ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum bum bum ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum ba-da-dum bum 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 dum dum bum bum ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum bum bum ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum bum 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 dum bum ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum. Bum 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 ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum. Alright, we're rolling. It's Gustavo, Adolfo, Uribe here. I'm knocking these videos out of the park right now. I'm on a fucking roll. I'm gonna get another beer. Put some lemon here with my tecate here. Put some salt on this. I'm in my room in Santa Barbara here that I turned into a recording home project studio. And I'm doing these videos to help other independent artists out, or music students or whatever. That, information to help them out. Alright? So what are we going to do today? Alright, voice. We're going to talk about the motherfucking voice, okay? Now, it doesn't matter what you do, okay? You're an actor, you're a singer, you're whatever. Any style, there are mechanics of the voice that apply to everything as a foundation, okay? And what is that? It's the fucking breathing. Breathing. This is the foundation that you need to get the basics down. Any style, any vocal coach or teacher is gonna tell you the same shit. They're gonna tell you different ways of explaining the same shit, but I'm gonna fucking break some of that shit so it makes sense, okay? Because I'll give you my background, okay? When I was at Santa Barbara City College, I took a singing class, and I did private instruction with the piano accompanist, and he was a singer as well. I did private lessons, and then I did private lessons with a opera singer, and got like an operatic approach. And then when I was at Cal Arts, I took a vocal class and private lessons with two different teachers, and I also did a vocal pedagogy class. I didn't do the whole class because I got really fucking busy, but I learned some cool shit along the way. They wanted you to get a student and teach them, and I was like, I don't have time for that fucking shit. I gotta finish this goddamn album and shit. Anyways, whatever. But I learned some really interesting things. And I'm gonna share that because I think that it's really helpful. Okay, so first thing, okay, let's talk about the body here. Okay, that is okay, that's a person. Okay. now, now right here they have this shit called lungs, and right here beneath these lungs is a diaphragm. Okay, so it's this muscle thing. So this diaphragm, you need to push that down. They call activating the diaphragm, like push that shit down, and what that does is that creates like some air pressure shit, an air pressure chamber. Okay, so that you have the air that you're able to project the sound. Am I losing black? Okay, you're able to project the sound. So when you're singing or doing voice stuff, you're not, when you're talking for regular, it's coming out of the throat, right? I gotta talk like I'm from the fucking throat, or like I'm from the fucking, you know what I'm saying? But when you're doing vocal stuff, you gotta use the diaphragm. Now this throat, there's a vocal folds in here, and these vocal folds, they do this shit, they vibrate, and that's how you get the actual sound, like the pitch and stuff. Well, yeah, the actual sound. that's what makes it sound. It's like the instrument, right? But the whole fucking thing is an instrument. So you have this diaphragm pushes the air, or you push it down, and it makes the air, so it goes through these vocal folds, and then you got let me make another diagram here. So what happens is the whole body's a fucking instrument, right? And you got I need another marker. Give me a second. Okay. So here's the face, the head. There's the throat with the fucking vocal folds. And that's the body right here. So here's what gets interesting here. Okay, so here's the diaphragm. Now, when you're doing vocal training, they talk about a chest voice and they talk about a head voice. Okay, the chest voice, or in Italian, voce de petto. And then, I don't know if I spelled it right, whatever. And then you got the head voice, which is the falsetto. Okay? I like to call it falsetto, like Portuguese, because it's creamy Alfredo falsetto. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I like to say it. You know what I'm saying? The falsetto. Anyways, whatever. Okay, so you got chest voice and you got falsetto, right? Head voice. Now there's two schools of thought here, where there's a chest voice and there's a head voice. And there's another one that's like, no, there's three voices. There's a chest voice, there's a mixed voice, and there's a head voice. I like to go with the mixed way of theory of looking at it. So we call it mixed, which is basically a blend of chest and head voice. So you got this thing called tessitura, right? Is a range of instruments. So, in other words, when your diaphragm is activated, depending on where you're aiming the sound pressure waves, or aiming the air or whatever, the lower you have it, it's going to be lower pitch. The higher you have it, you're going to get higher pitch. Like, it's actually in the body. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Like a longer tube, or like a tuba, you get deeper notes. Like a flute, you get higher notes because it's shorter, right? The physics of it. So that's a very interesting thing, because I was like, what the fuck is a falsetto? What the fuck is a head voice? Like, when you're learning, they throw around this jargon, you're like, well, what the fuck is that? And the confusing thing as a singer, when you're learning this shit, you really don't know what the hell they're talking about, because it's very, very specific. Okay? What does that mean? Okay, because it's internal. The voice is the most difficult instrument because everything is internalized. It's not like you're playing a key. It's not like you're blowing on something, whatever. I mean, all those instruments are hard, don't get me wrong, but learning wise, it's hard to explain it to someone, because you can't just cut a fucking hole in someone and say, hey, see that thing what I was telling you about? No, you can't do that. You have to experience it, and singing teachers use a lot of metaphors to explain the sensation of the physics of what's going on. So this is the basics. You activate your diaphragm, go down low like this, and then you aim the sound. Okay, you aim the sound, and when you kind of the more air you got right here, and you load up your lungs and shit, that means the more pressure, right? So that's when you go like classical music or something, and you're projecting. That means they're doing a lot of really pushing that fucking diaphragm and filling up their body with air, so they can project more, okay? And they aim the sound and it resonates through different parts of the bodies, okay? And it projects. So that's how a classical opera singer is able to do that shit with the training and the fucking aiming of the sound. So, different approaches, right? When you're doing your chest voice, you're gonna feel something. You're gonna feel something like here. Or it's relaxed. It's either relaxed or you're gonna feel something here if you really want to project that shit. And then also your head voice or falsetto voice is you're gonna feel the sensation like your head's resonating. So you're gonna feel something around here. And I'm not making this up, okay? Now the interesting thing is for male singers, like let's say 70% is chest voice and 30% is like your head voice. For women, it's like the opposite, okay? And it'll be 70 and 30 here. So for male singers, learning your head voice is very, very difficult. And I guess if you're a female singer, I don't know, it might be difficult too. I'm not a female, so I don't fucking know, you know? But whatever. So this was really hard to learn as for me. So what the hell is it? I'll give you a demo, okay? Well, first of all, let's talk about the do's and don'ts of voices, right? How to take care of the voice. First of all, do not use your vocal folds or throat, okay? No throat. This is very important. This is very important. A lot of singers, they think they're singing properly, but they're not. They're using their throat and they're like screaming and shit. And what happens is, when you do that, you're over exercising your vocal folds. They're like little muscles, right? You over exercise those fuckers. What happens is you start to get like bumps in the vocal folds, and you get like nodes. They call them nodes. And what happens is that every time you get a node, you're not able to produce certain frequencies. Why? Because they're fucked up. They don't work the right way. You fucked them up, okay? So what happens is the singers have to get surgery to clear that shit, and then they're not able. Even after surgery, they still lost some of their ability to use their vocal folds. So every time you hear about a singer going into surgery for that shit, it's because they fucked them up. Unfortunately. It's like hearing loss, you know? Take care of your ears. Take care of your vocal folds if you're a singer, you know? So no throat, okay? Do not practice more than an hour, okay? This is kind of tough. This is a tough lesson, dude. Maybe an hour and a half, okay? But most musicians, they want to practice at least 3 hours a day, right? Ballpark. But for a singer, you can't do that. You cannot do that. As soon as you start to feel strained or tired, you have to stop. Immediately. Immediately. Okay? So let's say 1 hour of actual real practice. And I mean like you warm up for like, let's say 10 minutes or 15 minutes. A warm up and then maybe a cool down. And I'll go over that, you know. You warm up, you do your real practice. After an hour, you cool down. You stop. You stop for the day. It sucks because you want to get better and shit, but it is what it is, baby. Another thing. No ice after singing. no ice after singing. Do not drink cold shit after you sing. Maybe at least 3 hours later, I'm gonna say. Because what happens is, if you drink cold shit while you sing or after you sing, you will go hoarse. You will lose your voice. Okay? It will go out. It will just stop working. Happens to everybody, dude. Happens to everybody, bro. So like if you're rapping or whatever, you go on a fucking show, let's say that, oh, they give you some water, right? And they're fucking cold waters in the fucking ice bucket. Do not drink that shit because your voice will go out. And before you finish the concert, you can't sing anymore. So, no ice / cold during or after singing. Wait 3 hours later, man. I'm telling you, man. If you lose your fucking voice and you gotta fucking... and it doesn't come back till like a couple days later or some shit. Like, let's say you got a voice lesson in the morning. If your voice goes out and it's not ready by that morning, you're fucked, man. You're fucked. Okay, so no ice. Now this is less severe, but nuts or chips during singing. Okay. Now, if you know you're gonna sing, stay away from nuts and chips. Things that could kind of hurt your vocal folds. After you sing or whatever, that's cool. Whatever, do whatever you want. But these are some very important practical shits that you need to fucking know. This is voice maintenance, okay? It's different than another musician, you know what I'm saying? You know, you fucking play the piano or something, just, you know, warm up your hands and stuff, stretch, blah, 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 and you're good to go. But with this is different. It's a very, very specific shit, okay? Alright, now let's talk about warm-up, okay? Now, depending on if you're taking voice lessons or something, they're gonna do like scales and shit to warm up and different drills, like octave drills and shit like that. Voice warm up. This is important, okay? You can't sing without warming up. Why? Because you will strain your vocal cords or vocal folds, and like again, the more you strain those fuckers, the more likely it is that you will develop a node or some fucking shit, and you will fuck up your vocal folds. Okay? So you need to warm up. Okay, now like I said, you go to a vocal coach or singer lesson, they'll have drills and stuff. But I developed a way that I like to warm up, just physically warm up. Physically warm up. So obviously you want to do your drills and scales and stuff, but your body is an instrument, right? So voice warm up. So I'm going to show you my way of warming up physically. Obviously, like I said, if you got a teacher or whatever, they're going to do scales and drills and do that. But this is just my personal way of just warming up my body. Now, as a singer, you want to feel like your body's very flexible, very agile, so you don't overstrain it. You know, everything should become easy. When you're doing it right, when you're warmed up and shit, it should become easy. So I developed a method for me that I'm able to stretch every like chamber of the body, so I have a nice warm up. So this is one of my tricks. This is a fucking kazoo. Alright? A fucking kazoo. Why? I'll show you. When you blow into the fucking kazoo, yeah. Doesn't sound like anything. But when you activate your diaphragm, then you know that you're doing it right. And you push up and that shit up. Okay? So you do that shit. Another thing I do is I do glissandos, right? So I go up and I warm this shit up and I try to go up and go up and go up. Very slow. Notice I stopped because I ran out of fucking breath. That's how it should be. If the diaphragm's activated, then you're gonna get sound. When you're squeezing your vocal folds to compensate, that's when you're doing it wrong. So that's why I got this fucking kazoo. Notice my body's gonna start to watch. Go right. Okay, now notice I was cutting off. I'm starting to hit my break. My break between my chest voice and my head voice. Now it takes a while to warm this up. If you're a guy, you know, check this out. Now, I've been drinking beer, so I've been doing it. Fuck it, I've been drinking cold shit and stuff. I'm just doing it for the sake of demonstration, okay? So now what I'll do is I'll go over the break, back and forth, up and down, to warm that shit up. And by the way, falsetto, if you're the guy, is basically falsetto. To do it, it's basically you talk like a woman. Hi guys, oh, like this thing, like, oh yeah, oh really, like, you know when you're making fun of girls, that's the voice you want to use. And what it does is it activates that shit because, well, the mechanics, whatever the fuck. It's just easier if I just tell you what it is. So you warm that shit up. Now you notice when you're starting to warm up, like all the snot and shit, you start to blow out your nose because all that fucking mucus and fucking shit starting to clear up. So it starts to warm up, you know what I'm saying? Now here's another thing that I do. So I use the fucking kazoo just to get it, make sure that my diaphragm is activated. Now what I also like to do is this shit. Watch, I get on my fucking balls of my feet here, and I jump up and down, or not jump, but like move your feet up and down. So I'm jumping like this. So I'm like kind of loosening up, and I'm like kind of just, you know, loosening up. And then what I'll do is I'll activate my diaphragm, and I'll go through my chest voice up to my head voice, and like dog pant, okay? This is very helpful for warming the shit up, getting the blood going and shit. So I'll go, loosen up that belly, and you can feel like the more tension it is, the more work you need to put into it, so it feels more relaxed. And I'll go up. So you go up and down really slow, sake for a demonstration. And let's see. And you notice when you want to go up higher in the head voice, you need more pressure. So like more air, you need to like sauce that shit so you get enough air pressure coming up over here. So for example, you can see my fucking, oh, my belly start to come out and shit. Oh. So they basically do that. Do this shit for like 5-10 minutes, and then you notice that, okay, like your voice starts to resonate a little bit more and starts to get warmed up, and then you do your scales and shit and all that fucking shit. But that's a trick that I developed that works really well for me. Might work really well for you too. Okay, so that's the voice warm up. Okay, get a fucking kazoo at the party store for, I don't know, less than $1. Okay, let's see, voice warm up. Okay, so that's the basics of it. Now, obviously, you need to get some voice lessons and shit and blah 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 blah. But when you're doing it, you're rapping, or you're singing, or you're doing voiceovers work, you're an actor or whatever. Basically, all you need to do is you take your breath, right? Like that. With the mouth, through the mouth. So it's not audible. Right? And you fill it up. Sas. Your fucking diaphragm. And then from there, you, all you gotta do is project your voice using your diaphragm. So now I'm speaking like this. This is my theater voice because it's loud and it's projecting and blah blah blah. Whatever. Fuck it. And that's how you do it. Now there's two different schools or techniques that I've picked up along the way. Where's my marker? Because you don't, different aesthetics, different styles of singing are going to require different ways of doing this shit. I mean, the breathing is fundamental, right? But there's two ways to go. There's the projection approach, and I think this is good for theater and certain styles of like when you're doing live shit, okay, and you have to do it live. So you're projecting, trying to get a very uniform, like laser beam of sound. Boom. That's one way to do it, and how you do it is, like I say, you get your diaphragm, but there's gonna be a lot more tension in there. There's gonna be a lot more tension, and you're gonna aim the fucking sound over there to the back of the room, okay? And once you start doing that with your diaphragm engaged, it'll make more sense. Now there's another approach that I've learned, and I'm gonna call this the rainbow approach. Now with the rainbow approach, here's your body here, and what you're doing is, instead of projecting it forward, you're actually projecting it like through the crest of your head. Alright? So instead of like using my theater voice to project like this, I'm actually gonna project more upward and airy because now blah 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 blah. And what that does is it makes it sound a little bit more airy, a little bit more natural, okay? And that's not the projection approach. That's laser beam. This is more of like a fucking like a mist, like a sprinkled mist, okay? So the crest of the head, okay? Just changing the way you project the sound, you get different resonating, different timbre shits. And that's two different ways that I've learned you can get different sounds. And then depending on like, so for this, to get this airy natural, like I said, you project the air through the crest of your head. You project it through the crest of your head like this, and everything is relaxed. So yes, my diaphragm is engaged, but it's not as engaged as doing this projection where it's just right there, bam, 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 you know? And what I found that this is, I mean, you could do that shit like live, but here's the fucking pros and cons. it does not cut. It does not project like the projection approach. This is for like more smaller settings, chamber settings where the people are a little bit closer to you, whatever. Or for recording. Now you notice that in pop songs or some shit, well, there's two different ways. If you're doing the projection approach, like the Christina Aguilera, like belting, she's actually using a lot of chest voice, and she's doing the projection approach. That's what it sounds like to me. Um, like a lot of pop belt singers. But you can use this rainbow approach if you want something really light, like R&B smooth style, you know. So when you don't want to like just fucking belt it out, you don't have to. You can use this rainbow approach when you're doing, like I said, to change to you do the rainbow approach and you do a little bit closer mic placement. So it gets like a really airy, like resiny, clear, fluffy sound instead of this type of sound where it's more direct, blah 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 blah. See what I'm saying? Experiment with that shit. Yeah, and so that's pretty much vocal basics in a nutshell. Obviously, oh, here's another thing. Okay, something to be aware of. If you're a vocal student, if you don't know anything, it's very hard to know if you have a good teacher or not. Okay, and this is what usually ends up happening, dude. I'm gonna go into vocal teachers. This is tough, dude. This is a tough subject, but from my experience, um, all of them will go over the breathing. Okay, that's how you know you have like someone that knows what they're doing. The problem is that they all have different styles and aesthetics that they learn from, and then that they're teaching on to you. So they're actually kind of zealots, meaning that it's they have the right way, the best approach for singing and blah blah. And most of them all think like this. Unfortunately, um, it's like, oh well, I have the best approach, and I studied with blah 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 and blah blah blah, and you know my way is better, superior. Um, which is kind of a pain in the ass because you're a singing student, you're trying, and you have to figure out, well, how do you sing, how to use your body. That's one, and then what works best for you, or what kind of vocal style do you want to get into. That's why I said there's two different: the projection approach and then the rainbow approach. That's usually where those singing different types of schools will go into. Um, for the most part, I mean, if you're doing like some rock stuff and you're doing like death scream stuff, there's an actual technique to get not fuck up your vocal folds and be able to do that. And that's another subject. You have to train with a specialist who knows that stuff. Okay, because you're not squeezing them. You're just projecting from a glottal stop. It's kind of complicated. Anyways, whatever. That's not the point. The point is that vocal teachers, and usually 99% of them will be zealots, or they will be ignorant of the projection approach and the rainbow approach. They may not even like describe that there's two different approaches, you know, so they'll be kind of ignorant. So instead of like helping develop your voice and what works better for you and what kind of music do you want to do and kind of like trying to tailor what it is to a specific student, what they'll do is just drop their baggage onto you. And I'm not trying to talk bad about any like particular vocal teacher or anything like that, but that's just ends up what happens. Like when you learn from so many different people, you start to pick up these patterns and these behavior traits, you know. And me, I don't I don't have a preference because they have different pros and cons of different whatevers. For me, I that's why I said the rainbow approach is good for microphone recording, and I find that that is most effective for my voice because naturally I'm a loud person, and when I do the projection thing, it's like it's too much. It just doesn't fucking work. So I have to tone that shit like to the 10th degree down, and then the opposite of what you would think. Instead of using my fucking opera voice, I kind of tone it down to a breathing, very mellow, soft style. So, anyways, um, which is on recorded on my album that I'm working on. If you look at my EP where I do the dummy prop, I kind of use a projection approach with like a nasal sound, but that's something that I have been working on that you may not hear until my album comes out. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is that so vocal teachers, and they're fucking expensive, dude. So it's not uncommon to go from 45 to $100 an hour. That's not uncommon. Um, Shit adds up real quick, real quick. And with the vocal, the thing is when you're learning singing or you want to practice, you have to be in a practice room where you're not waking up your fucking neighbors. So maybe you do want to make a vocal booth in your room or whatever, so you can kind of practice and not wake up your neighbors. I'll have a video. I built a vocal booth so I can do recording and I can practice. And it's a big fucking pain in the ass to make one, but if you want to make one, you could check out that video, okay? Because I do recognize that it's kind of sucks, dude. When you're a musician, I mean, you have to practice, dude, and you're gonna make noise, and that's just the nature of everything. So I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please like, subscribe, comment, whatever, all that shit. And yeah, man. Thanks for watching.